Hey y'all, it's Christy Cook from Teadoddles. Today is Tutorial Tuesday, and I've had some questions about my Excel file for my yarn stash, and about sharing the file. I'm not super sure how to do that, so I thought I would do a video tutorial, showing y'all what I do. And hopefully this all picks up good, because I couldn't figure out a way to record on screen as I did this. So hopefully everybody will be able to see this. I will see once I get done recording, and if not, I'll have to figure out another way to do it. So this is my yarn, my file that I keep up with my yarn. And over here you can see that I have a column called brand, and this will have things like, I got Karen. This one you won't see till you get on further down, but this is the Lion brand one. And I usually just join the sale, so I know that all this in this box is the same thing. Because if I click on it, I can see the name up here, right here. And if you don't know how to join a box, let me go up here. This is gonna be weird because you have to go to home, and you see this merge and center right here. If you click on it, these unmerge, you'll see it's just a bunch of different cells now. But if you just highlight what you want to and do merge and center, then it makes it all one block. And that's what I like to do, just so I know that in this whole section is all Karen cakes, or not Karen cakes, but Karen brand yarn. And then in my next column, I will have type, because each brand of yarn has different types. So I've got like my sprinkle cakes, my latte cakes, Pantone. I've got some Simply Soft tweeds, and I've got some big cakes in here, okay? And I do the same thing with those. If I have several different colors, I will merge and join the cells together. And then my next column is color. What color is it? So I list the different colors I have of that type right beside it. And then in my next column, I have the amount. How many skeins of each do I have? You'll notice sometimes I'll have stuff like 2.5. That's like 1.5 cakes. And the way I figure out this amount, sometimes if I have partial skeins, is I will weigh it and divide that by yardage and things like that, and just see about how much I have of a partial skein if I want to include it up here. I have a section down at the bottom, which I'll show you in a minute, that is just for scrap yarns and scrap cakes. So my next column is going to be weight. What weight is the yarn? That's what I put in this column. I try to put in here anything I might want to know about the yarn. That way, when I'm looking to make a project, I can come to this list and see what I have on hand, versus trying to dig through all my different piles or my stashes of yarn to find something that will work. This has proven valuable many times when I'm looking into making a pattern, and I can just come through this list and see what I have on hand. So my next column is fiber content, which is important to know. I have some abbreviations I put when I have several fibers. A is acrylic, N is nylon, MW is merino wool. So you'll have to decide if you want to do abbreviations or not. It just depends on how many fibers are in there. Just trying to save space in my cell so I don't have to make it bigger. You can make it as big as you want to, obviously. This little grip right here will make your cell bigger if you would like. So in case you didn't know that. And my next file, my next cell is how many ounces. I got ounces, grams, yard, and then meters. And that's what I put in all. I keep up with the yardage more so and the quantity of skeins. But I like to have all the information I can about the yarn if I wanted it for whatever reason. And then I will also, if it gives a suggested hook or needle size, I will put that in there. And then this column is my care column. I'll make sure if I can get to this bar. And then at the end, I have total yardage, which I'll talk about the formulas in that in just a moment. And then I have a column for caked. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. Like, I would put a check if I've already caked the yarn or not. Some yarn doesn't need to be caked, so I don't know if I'll use that one or not. But I also have a column for project, so that if the skein of yarn is designated for a project, I will put that in there. And then I've added recently this notes column, and that is to help me keep up with things like, I'm still working on this for some this year, like if I got the yarn in a swap, or if it was gifted to me, or something like that. So, and if I have clubs, I intend to put the month that the yarn came from. So this is a new column, and I've got to update all of that stuff. So back to the formulas, okay, because that was something I got questions about. They're just basic formulas, nothing too complicated. So you got the amount, and since I'm doing yardage, I need to multiply the amount by the yardage to get my total yardage. So that would be the formula right here, which you just put the equal sign, and then you can pick the cell number. So I'm going to take this out so I can show y'all how I did the formula. So you pick this, and you type in the equal sign, which you can see up here. And then you pick the cell. I want the amount. You'll see it highlight the cell. And then you'll do times, which is the little star symbol on your keyboard. And then I pick the next cell, which would be the yardage right here. And then I just hit enter, and now it's totaling up the yardage I have. Okay? Pretty simple. Nothing too complicated. Now, if you wanted to keep up with the ounces, you could multiply that times your ounce per skein, or grams, or your meters. That's a pretty simple, basic formula. You just have to put that equal sign in front of it. So now, if I go down to the very bottom, there's my total total yardage, which is not completely correct. I have some things I need to add and adjust in here, as I said before. And all this is, you can see the formula up here. You put the equal sign, and you put sum, which is just SUM. And then you have to put the brackets, which is just the parentheses. And all you do is select. You can see it's highlighted all the way up. You just select all the cells. You can just click on. All right, let me go back down. Sorry. I'm looking at this through my phone and on screen. It's a little weird. So I'm going to delete that out so I can show you what I did. Okay. If I can click on the right thing. All right. So you put the equals again, and you just type SUM, and it'll come up here, and you can click on it. All right. What is it doing? Hold on. All right, we got our sum. And then you're going to put the parentheses in there. And you'll see that it gives you little clues. Number, comma, number. But all you have to do is, if you click on this first cell, and then I go all the way up to the top, hold down the shift key, then click on that last cell. and then put the last parentheses in. And when we go back down, you'll see it gives us the total. So that one's a pretty easy one to do too. I did the same thing under these, even though these aren't really, these are just a per, this doesn't, I don't even know why I have these on here really. So they're just, don't include the amount of skeins I have. So this is the total number of skeins of yarn currently. That includes, that like I said, that totals, I got some things to update. But I was going to show you how I have leftovers and meal ends and things like that that you don't have, maybe you don't have a label for or information for. So I just put that under the brand name, and then I just usually leave this blank unless I know something about it. And I put something about the color and how many of them I have and how much it weighs. And so when it comes, what kind of yarn it is, yarn weight it is. Fiber content's usually a variable thing. And the ounces, like I said, I weigh it on my scale, just a basic little scale I have. And then if I know like scrap cakes, I usually are scraps from yarns I've used previously, and all you have to do is, if you know how many ounces is in the skein and the yardage, you divide the, hang on just a second, make sure I'm saying this correctly. Okay, to figure out the, what you want to know is how many ounces or how many yards you get per ounce, basically. So, I would take my calculator, like for example, this one is 3.5 ounces, 180 yards. So I would divide 180 by 3.5. So this gives me an approximate yardage per ounce. So when I weigh my scrap skein, if it's made up of the same, whatever it's made up of, I can get approximate yardage for my scrap cake once I weigh it. Because I would then take this number, for example, if, let's see, this scrap cake here is 5.8 ounces. So I would multiply, I usually just keep this portion of the number, just the 5142. So if they were the same weight, the same kind of yarn, 5142 times the 5.8 ounces. So that gives me an approximate amount of yardage that I have in that scrap cake. That's why I try to keep my scrap cakes, I try to keep similar weights together. Now, if you'll notice you can see my yardage here. This is a number 5, and that one I used an example was a number 4. So you can see how the yardage varies, but I base it on what I put into my scrap cake, so I can get an approximate amount of yardage. And that's what I do. So if you didn't know how to do that, and that just gives me a good idea of all of my yarn versus just the stuff that's still in skeins, which is plenty of stuff. You can see I got Deborah Norville, Premier, Downtown Abbey, some interesting, this MM in front of these is for my Mary Maxim kits. So I do put, like, if it's that, and this is just Mary Maxim yarn, but I put the kits in here so I can keep up with that yarn too. Coming up here, you're going to see a lot of my hand-dyed yarns, and where I put this stuff here. Knit crate, I've started one for it. Just different things. You're going to see my Southern skein one needs to be greatly updated because I have way more of it than that. I think I actually gave this away too. But this is basically how I keep up with it. You'll notice some things in green. And I try to highlight it in green if it's in a whip. Which this doesn't have my project on it. But this is in my sweater project. And then I have a section for whips, which I need to really this is something I got to work on, but and then I have a section for giveaway where I put yarns that I'm giving away, so I still have it, but it doesn't get included in my yarn total. Actually, I think it is included until I actually give it away. So I try to keep up with anything I have on hand until it actually leaves or is finished in a project. So hopefully this made sense and will help y'all get your own Excel file started. If you have any questions, please let me know. This does kind of go over Excel in a way that if you know how to use it already, okay? And it's just giving you some formulas. Yeah, so I think that's it for today, and hopefully y'all can see everything. And if you have questions, like I said before, please let me know in the comments, and I will try to answer them as best as I can. Talk to y'all later. Bye.